deciding how best to meet this challenge, I made sure to address a few criteria. There's the criteria assigned to the task, of course, but I also wanted to design a company that could maintain profitability in the future, a company that had great potential for growth and for helping society in multiple forms, and a company that allowed for upwards movement. With all this in mind, I went in search of a country that would allow me to meet my criteria. I finally settled on Bangladesh, where I would start a company designed to provide power. For the sake of this essay, the company will be referred to as Bangladesh Power Company, or BPC. First off, I feel the need to explain my choice of country. Asia's economy as a whole is rapidly expanding, and Bangladesh is advancing even faster than most of the other countries. Poverty is decreasing, the GDP has doubled in little more than 30 years, and the government is starting projects to help economic expansion. That the government is allowing and enabling the country to flourish was a key factor in choosing Bangladesh, since I would need to be allowed a free hand to carry out my goals for BPC. However, Bangladesh is not yet a fully developed country. Poverty rates, infrastructure, and GDP are all still below global averages. Moreover, one of the major factors hindering Bangladesh's further growth is a severe power scarcity for its over 150 million inhabitants. Still, Bangladesh's economy looks to be forming into one of the strongest in Asia. Right now, the country is filled with potential, stemming from the desire to improve itself and the massive amount of people power, hindered in large part by a need for power. A perfect place to start a power company dedicated to helping the people. It is important to note the possible sources of power in Bangladesh. For one, the country has a large amount of natural gas and is believed to hold much more that has not yet been discovered. Furthermore, Bangladesh has a huge potential for hydroelectric power due to its proximity to the Bay of Bengal and the Brahmaputra and Ganges rivers that flow through the country. The monsoon winds that come in every year allow for a good source of wind energy, and the tropical climate makes solar power a viable support to other power sources. With unlimited starting money, I could just choose any one of these and form a niche in the market. However, I wanted to create as realistic of a scenario as I could, short of actually starting a company, and so BPC would start out as a petroleum and natural gas company with extensions into clean energy. As BPC's foothold in the economy strengthened and the population's access to power increased, the clean energy aspect would become more emphasized. Eventually, I would work to make the majority of Bangladesh's power usage be based upon renewable energy. Still, the true impact of BPC hasn't even been discussed yet. Right now, it's just a power company that is sensitive to environmental concerns. Remember how I mentioned that the Ganges River flows through Bangladesh? Well, it happens to be one of the most polluted rivers in the world. BPC switched to hydroelectric power. One of the main sources of energy would be the Ganges. People would need to be working on or around the river throughout the year. Therefore, I would employ many workers to clean the river while projects were being constructed on it. Dams would have a filtration system built in, and power generators would work to reduce waste in the river as they are providing energy to the country. This would also give many citizens reliable jobs constructing and repairing the buildings, and would get them working to improve the community and gain a sense of purpose. Similar projects would be instituted for the other energy sources whenever the opportunity arose. Now BPC is providing clean energy to millions, giving many of those same people reliable jobs, and reducing pollution in one of the most used rivers in the world. But more can still be accomplished. Reliable jobs don't mean much for the country if those working them can never improve the lot. For this reason, at the start of BPC, I would create a stash. Since we were given unlimited starting funds, I would make the initial deposit either large enough to sustain itself on interest, or more likely deposit money at regular intervals into the stash. This money would be used to help workers move upwards in the company. Much of BPC's workforce is likely uneducated, with relatively few people doing the science and leading the divisions of the company. The stash would give bonuses to educated workers in any level of the company if they taught the uneducated workers. It would also sponsor workshops that taught employees more about their craft. The goal would be to have anyone in my company who is willing to learn, able to advance through BPC. The CEO could be someone who started out working simple construction on the rivers, but who had the motivation to learn. However, I am aware that not everyone can be upper management or research and design scientists. There is just not enough room in a company for that. My solution to this problem would, hopefully, further improve the condition of the country. As those capable of leadership in BPC grew, the company would spread to Bangladesh's neighbors. India and China are also both developing countries with populations in need of energy. China has one of the highest imports of natural gas, and India uses more electricity than all but 6 other countries. BBC would open branches in these countries and any other neighbors that welcome them, going through the same cycle that formed the company. Once the branches took root, I would have citizens from the neighboring countries brought in to work in the Bangladesh factories, and more natives of Bangladesh would be sent to work outside the country. In this way, I would hope to develop stronger international ties between the countries, both on a local level and on an international economic level, not to mention helping the inhabitants of the neighboring countries and further developing the countries. Now that I've laid out my plans to you, I hope you can see why I chose this idea and can share my enthusiasm for it. Bangladesh Power Company would give the population energy and jobs, move the country towards clean energy, improve the overall education of the company's workers, reduce pollution and help feed the Ganges River, and improve relations in the economies of neighboring countries. What makes me most excited about this idea, though, is that BBC and its future are plausible in an economic climate such as currently exists in Bangladesh, especially with the large starting fund given. Thank you.